Hello YouTube, Adriana here. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. This is actually kind of a recap of the 2012-2013 official Melissa Press and DV Publishing releases. We're also going to talk about my new book from Nephilim Press, Keys of Okkat. First, I want to talk about the Sigilum Diaboli, which is basically divination with sigils. There used to be a book out quite a few years ago that dealt with sigil divination, but it has since gone out of print because the author chose to have it go out of print. So I decided to write my own version of that book with more traditional meanings for seals and so on, and that is the result of that is, pardon the light there, is the Sigilum Diaboli. And basically it will tell you how to use sigils in divination and give you meanings for everything. So go ahead and check that one out if that is an area that interests you. Now, early on in 2012, I had the Infernal Colopatiron came out. It was my first limited edition hardcover that I ever did. And I said I would never do them unless there were works actually worthy of doing limited edition hardcovers. And so far I've written two that have been worthy of that, I think. And the first one was Infernal Colopatiron. And the binding on them is rather superior. But the information in the book, I think a lot of people didn't realize what it was when it first came out until they actually got a copy. So for those of you who got a copy, lucky you, because they're almost completely gone. And I don't think I'm ever going to reprint this book, not this particular book anyway. I mean, if I ever discuss gate opening again and demonic theophany, it's going to be probably within the realm of a different book. And that, sorry, I've got like glaring light coming at me, so you're not going to be able to see. There might be some glare there. And that's this book here. And along with this book goes the Nuctemeron Gates, which is basically the complete gate opening ritual and pathwork of the Nuctemeron. And there's it's a small book, it's a chapbook, it's part of our chapbook series. It's relatively inexpensive, but it really does complement the Infernal Colopatiron. It can be used alone, obviously. I always try to make my books usable by themselves. Sometimes they're not. Now, next I want to talk about the necromancy, the Demonolatry necromancy books. There are several of them. There are 4 total. Okay, and we're going to start with the very beginning one and talk about Honoring Death. This came out in 2010, and it is basically the introduction book to Demonolatry necromancy. And I cover everything in here from basic working with the death energy, the death demonic, and working with the dead. Everything from ancestor veneration and so on. So if you think you might be interested in necromancy, that's where you want to start, because it's going to put the rest of these books into perspective. The next one is Necromantic Sacraments, and that just came out recently. And the reason I wrote this one is because I had a lot of, after doing all of this work with necromancy the past few years, I ended up with excess information, and I decided I needed to at least share some of it with you because I thought it was rather interesting. So this is just basically all of the odds and ends that I didn't have for Honoring Death, otherwise it probably would have been included in there. Or it was just it wasn't relevant enough to be included in Keys of Okkat, or it wasn't advanced enough. So that's what Necromantic Sacraments is. And there's a lot of prayers in here and a lot of just rituals. So it's a ritual and prayer book is basically what it is. And that would be the second book to get after Honoring Death. The next one is obviously Keys of Okkat. And this book was actually put out by Nephilim Press, and they did a beautiful job with it. I'm very pleased with my experience there. And you should know that this one, if you can get a hardcover copy, you should. It's really not that expensive. I know $60 for an occult book may seem expensive, but once you get to a certain point, like all the 101 books in the world are just going to bore the hell out of you, and it's the same information rehashed over and over. You're eventually going to want to start working with more advanced grimoires if you stick with it. So that would be what Keys of Occult is. This is the stuff that necromantic funerary priests use within Demonolatry. So you might want to look into this because it goes into some really interesting things, some interesting aspects of blood magic and necromancy that you just don't find in one place. It also explains a lot more, some of the foundational material that you may have learned in your beginning Demonolatry books. So, for example, why Demonolatry is a bloodletting tradition. You want to know the answer to that, this is the book to get if, you know. So, it explains it quite well. So there's that, and in that book there are a lot of keys and talismans and seals that you'll need to work the magic. And not only that, but this kind of is an extension of the Infernal Colopatiron, except it's specifically working with the death demonic and the death current and working with the dead. So once you get that, you may want Keys of Death. Keys of Death, again, sorry about the light, is basically, these are the death tablets. These are my death tablets that are in full color. We couldn't have them printed. I can't really show you that well here. I can kind of move it up. If you really want the full impact of the death tablets, you need to see them in full color. And unfortunately, it was too expensive to have them printed in full color in Keys of Occult, and that's why I tried to make it as cheap as possible to do like a little paperback. So you can get a more expensive copy. If you go to Lulu, you can get a hardcover in color, full color copy. But if you really want to go on the cheap, 12 bucks, and you can get a full color copy booklet of the seals. Not only that, but in this little booklet, I have some of these. You can see how I made the tablets. I actually kind of show you how I did it, so you kind of understand them a little better. So it's kind of a cheat because you don't have to do the work to do all the translation yourself. So there's that. And the Necromancy trilogy, including the tablet book, all of that is actually going to be used for a Sem Priest, funerary priest training program. So you've got those. They're actually being used as textbooks. So that's kind of why I haven't really been online this last 2 years. I've been very busy, as you can tell. Putting out 6 books, even if 2 of them are chat is certainly certainly not the easiest thing. It's been rather busy. Actually, I shouldn't say 6. I should say 5, because technically, Honoring Death didn't come out. I think it came out in like 2011, as opposed to 2012. So, but that and Curses, Hexes, and Crossing, I believe, came out right there in 2011, about the same time. So, I have been very busy. I have a lot more for you guys. I have a lot of videos to make because I'm teaching the Alchemy Lab course this summer for the TTS. So expect a lot more videos here soon, and I hope this tells you a little bit about what I've been working on. And if there are any specific questions you have, feel free to email me or just leave a message on my wall, and I will talk to you. Thanks.